Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down so you see it. So you see your boy. And we are here for our Saturday, 12 in the afternoon, depending on where you are. It could be, I know I was talking to someone and they were saying that they're on a different time frame. So when I start at 12, they'll probably be at 8 o'clock in the night. So I'm like, oh man, well, catch me after dinner. You know, outside of that, you are tuned in to your boy, Jocquill, and hello, hey, hola, que pasó, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, dobre din, to all of my people, all across the world, all across the states, for joining me here in the Shift in Perspective. And look, the shift in perspective is only just the concepts of what exists, right? These are principles that were designed from BC, Stoics, kingdoms, empires, up until modern innovation, industrial revolution, and all of these things that we talk about are just normal, everyday things that lead to our everyday success. That's why it's EDS, because it's our everyday success, everyday shizness. We're gonna keep it PG. we don't want to get none. I really gotta look up the rules for monetization and whatnot and everything, and what I can and can't do. But here we are into it. And you know what? I'll give my boy a special shout out. My boy, Sir Ricky. It's Ricky. And she can rock her right now. It's Ricky. Yes, that is my dog. I'm telling you, that man has some knowledge and some wisdom unlike no other. Like, I can sit here and talk to you all now, but I'm telling you, that dude right there, man, he in the chats and going at it. Now, look, this is for all my people, because, you know, we redesigning the signature port to Shift in Perspective to do the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic at hand so that way we can get rocking. And then throughout the comments and whatnot, I appreciate everybody tuned in. All right. So without further ado, what we have the topic today. Simple structure. The simple structure, baby, because all we need is just a little simplicity to get to where we're going, right? What we get so caught up in is the emotion of what we have to do. So we got things that we have to do, right? But then we get caught up in the inconveniences and the disturbances of what comes with those scenarios. So it throws us off guard. You know, we want to do those 10 push-ups and get at it, but then we woke up a little too late for work, and now we're scrambling to get to work, and we're scrambling to get to school. We got homework, and the dog hasn't went outside yet, and now like, oh, we can't do the 10 push-ups. That's just the essence of why. And what we talk about regularly is that excuses does not build anything. Like, if you make the excuse for it, then you just don't want to do it. Now, look, this is leading into our simple structure, right? Our simple structure takes the moment something happens, and for you to catch the opportunity for you to become a little bit more efficient in a negative scenario. So that way, that simple structure that you created, because if you create it to where that it becomes so automatic, then you naturally train yourself to want to do the things that keep you in the best mood. You know, practicing negative behavior is a thing too. A lot of people are going to practice how not to do what they're supposed to, you know, like you focus so much on the negatives and like you can't let go of the misery. So you keep giving it energy and whatnot. It works the other way as well. So if you allow yourself to create the simple structures that push you further towards your goals regularly, despite the rain, despite the lateness, despite anything else, then you won't allow yourself to just halt at the fact of what's being done, right? So That's why the simple structures are important, because it's just that refresh. It's that inconvenience, irritation, upset happening to where they're like, wait, what's the structure? All right, remember what we said. In the structure, we based it off of boom, 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 and boom. And that is what we're going to get into, because I designed it to where that we can kind of follow it, right? And I made it as simple as the topic at hand, right? So the simple structures, there's going to be three parts that we're going to include. All right. And then we're going to break down those three parts in details so that way we don't miss them. All right. So the first one is, once you realize how easy it is. Once you realize how easy it is really to do something. There's a philosopher that I listen to on a regular basis. His name's Jim Rohn, great guy. Oh man, if I could talk to him. But once you realize how easy it is, he brings up an example of letting it be known that when you realize that you can jump over a 2 feet bar, the first thing you realize is that you can jump over a 2 feet bar. You got it. Boom. Right there. Now you know. Now you know something more than what you knew before, and something that you maybe weren't even thinking about that you could do. That's the first part about it. Because once you realize how easy something is, that's the perspective. Now, that's what we talk about a lot, because without the perspective of knowing what's the possibilities or the outcomes of what can happen, you leave yourself at a limited thought process of what can be done next. Look, I'll give you a prime example here right into it. So I'm going down south later on to do a little mixology event for St. Patrick's Day weekend and whatnot. Nothing too crazy. I'm having fun with it. My thing is, it's very far from where I live. And I don't say very far as like driving this, I say very far as transportation, like as far as like city transportation. You know, I'm going to hop on a bus and I'm going to hop on a train. Now, look, I can get down there at a proper time to go and get on the boat to make sure that we have our fun and whatnot. My thing is getting back up here, because public transportation isn't the same kind of setup. Now, if I was driving, this would be nothing problem, boom, boom, but where I have to go is a little bit further for public transportation. So there's a chance that I may not be able to catch one of the last trains coming back up north to get home and then get ready to get to work tomorrow, right? So my automatic reaction was to just go, all right, wait, can't do it. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I've actually looked at it a couple of times. I looked at the schedules. I looked how they lined up. I looked at what the last train would be like. I looked at it and I was like, it's not looking good, because I'm just doing the research. So the conclusion is, for the activity that I need to do at hands for what it's going to become later, for what I have to do to get there, they don't match up properly. Like there's a chance that I could be stuck in Fort Lauderdale having to go to work tomorrow. It's just too many variables, right? So me thinking that I'm being smarter, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it. So the event coordinator contacts me and she's letting me know that, I got you featured for it and whatnot. So now it's a bigger part than what I originally thought it was going to be. So now I'm actually wanting to figure it out. Come to find out, there's a different set of trains, I don't know if in your cities, but in certain cities, they have it to where it's like, the main train system, then they have like bright lines, then they have like the actual Amtraks, or just depending on where you live. But she opened my perspective to the fact of a later train that would be coming back up this way. I was like, oh, totally forgot about those kinds of trains, because I'm only thinking about the one train. And I limit my perspective to the fact of like, all right, this one train only gets done at this certain time, which doesn't line up at the time that I need to be back up north. So I can't do it. And look, we're not paying no $100 Lyft rides. You got to be smart about your money, so this is why I'm breaking everything down. But I still end up limiting myself because I forgot entirely about another train system that could be just as efficient, probably cost a little bit more, but then still gets me to where I need to go while doing all the things I need to do. So now we're back in it. So that's the first one, right? The perspective of it. my perspective was so caught on one train that this would be the only way to get there that I forgot about all of the other ways that I can make it happen. So that's where it comes down to. So you learn how easy something can be in a moment. Like if you end up really making sure that you allow yourself to get to another level while still keeping the perspective open, you don't stop opportunity. I was okay with the fact that, I've learned not everything is for you, right? Everything that presents itself, every plate that's handed to you, it doesn't have to be eaten. It doesn't have to be utilized. Sometimes things are just things, so that way you can keep your perspective open. Like say in the same scenario, you don't keep your perspective open, and then now I don't go to the event, which could open up a little bit more opportunity for a business that I'm creating. And then with me being okay not going to that event, still missing out on possibilities just due to one perspective thought of this, I'm not going to be able to make it. So it's important that we keep those perspectives open, because that's what gets us to next levels. And like, honestly, like I'm not expecting much. It's just a nice little showing of what the bartender has to offer, what the TSP is really all about, So that's one of the major keys, like just keeping the perspective open, because then once you keep the perspective open, you realize that there's a lot more that can be discovered through the one lens. But then you can also take a step back and look through multiple lenses and then see so many other kinds of perspective, right? So as the first one, you realize how easy it is. Now, the second one, big one right here. Now, second one is a big one. Separating the ego from your skills, right? You're good at something, so you keep that in your level. You think about something a certain way, so you keep it over there. It's so that way you don't end up mixing what needs to be done, right? Your ego is not your amigo, right? So if you're doing very well, but not keeping the sense of perspective that it's going well because of your skills and not necessarily because you think you just a shit, excusez-moi mon français, then you can understand where your humility comes in, where you can find yourself being at your most humble. And that's a very, very interesting scale to be on, because you can be good at something and have a bad attitude about how good you're at it, right? And you can also be good at something, but then not perform as well, and then, keep your head down. So it's a two-parter, right? So you want to be able to separate those skills from your emotions, because if you allow yourself to be head honcho, hot shit, excusez-moi français, about what you're doing without realizing that it's your skill and training that's been helping you get there, then this fades and you fall off. If you're doing something that you really love and you got your skills and you're doing it very well, but then the performance of it just wasn't as best and you lose, you don't want to have that ego emotion affect your skills to where you like, oh, I'm not good enough. It's a difference, right? I wrote it as the ego when you win without being humble, and then the skills, it's when you lose with your head down. Right. So that's a really important thing. Like you see, I actually have to write that. I wrote it like earlier today so I can make sure like I can like give it to you, because I'm like, yo, we got to talk about it. But like, that's the important part, right? It's making sure you don't mistake your skills for your emotion towards them, right? You want to be able to keep them on their separate side. You say, hey, I'm good at this because I'm good at it and I always win because of the skill set and the mindset that I've been in to make sure that I accomplish what I'm going for. They work together. Then when the inverse happens, say you don't win or you don't attain a victory, then you got to remember that I didn't get there this time, but I can always sharpen my abilities to get there next time. So they work together. What we do is we tend to combine everything, right? We tend to start to think about like, oh man, I'm not good enough because I didn't do it this time, or it didn't happen for me when it usually happens for me, so that means something's wrong. No. That's where you got to. That's where we got to calm down. Tranquilo, amigo. Tranquilo, amigo. Like, take it easy. Take a breath. Look, I've just experienced this myself. I was in this kickboxing tournament and I was excited. Like, I was hyped. I was like, yes, I finally get to get into some action. I get to really see where I'm at in my skill set. It's been years since I've stepped into a arena to where that I can like show what I got. And how the registration works is that you like registered for like 1 fight, 2 fights, or 3 fights and whatnot. I registered for all 3 because I wanted to take all the victory. And I didn't make it past the first round. Like I did not get past the first round. Like I say, no excuses, but I, just stepped into an arena for the first time, ready to get into it. Watching a video of me in it was very reassuring because then, like, I haven't known, like, right? I haven't seriously punched nobody in the face in so long that, I didn't know where I was at in my skill set. So watching a video of where I am was very reassuring to everything that I've done up until this point. Now I can add more of what I want on top of what I already know. Now, I didn't get past the first round of the tournament, and now my record is 1 win, 2 losses. So now all I do is, right, look, this is why I bring up this example because of the structure of it. Now all I do is I use the skill set that I know I have to be improved on top of knowing that it just was the performance of this basis. So that way I can understand what needs to be worked on. And then now I can apply more of that same ability to what I already know without making myself feel like, oh man, I'm just not going to do another tournament because I'm just not good enough. No, it's because of the fact that there are things missing. So you just figure out those things. Like, a lot of times we just give up. Like, we get to that point to where, look, I know what it feels like. We get to that point to where it's just like, all right, too much on my thought process. I just don't want to think about this. I want to be in a different environment, another setting, another state of mind. And it's not easy to just attempt to run away from that feeling. Like, right? You can't, it's not something that, even if you numb it, which I know very well myself, even if you decide to numb it, you only numb it for a certain amount of time. Yet you're still going to revert back to your normal state of thought of knowing that, oh, I didn't do that, so I feel bad about me now. So this is why it's important to be able to understand those separations. Because if you can understand the fact that, all right, I'm good because I'm good, and oh man, I didn't make it because I just need to train more, then you keep yourself at a nice level of professional criticism, right? You want to be a professional critique when it comes to yourself. You don't want to just say you're not good enough, you don't do it, you don't got it, you haven't done it, no, you don't want to just like impale yourself with just things that aren't happening. That's what we always do. We always think the moment something doesn't go right, we always think, what happened? Like I'm doing it, I got it, I'm handling it, like what's going on? It's not that serious. Like, that's where I've really learned that sometimes it takes that one moment of knowing. Now, look, I explain it like this because I had to bring up these 2 points for certain, right? Now, the inverse of that, right? Because to be honest, I think about it more and more now as I say it to you all, that I don't think I would have learned this lesson if I won. Like, right? If I would have like went in and won this tournament, like all 3 fights, I just took it, then I don't think I would have been in a state of mind to catch that humbleness, right? I don't think I would have been able to catch that humility to understand that, all right, I'm strong, but not strong enough to continue to reach the levels that I want to in the condition that I'm in. So if I would have won, then I'd have been in a state of mind where it's like, yes, I can't be stopped. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that, because then, like the skills and everything that I've built to get to that point would have proved for certain, but then also there would be no balance, right? It would only be ego. And that's why this point is so important to me, because if I were to just go take the victory, then I would just be like, no, I would just keep going, right? Without like considering the fact that, like, there is some place where I can improve technique, to where that there are some other parts of my form that I can work on, cardio, all of these things can play a part. So I don't want to say that it took the loss for me to understand it, but if I would have won, I'd have been so distracted by the win that I wouldn't have reverted back to focus. I would have just been like, I do this, unstoppable, and then probably would have like went on to another battle without restructure and then gotten completely hurt. Like these are all possibilities. I'm not saying that like, I'm just trying to make myself feel better. But like at the end of the day, it's important to kind of consider those things, because then what happens is we forget that there could be something else, right? We get so caught up. Remember, I just told you, I thought one train, like that one train was my only train, and that train was it. But then like there's another train. So you don't want to be lost in that one perspective, because then that one perspective only leads you onto one road. And then once that road ends and you ain't been taken in the sights and you haven't understood where you can go and how you can like get off of this exit or this road, then you end up feeling lost. Now you're out here and you're like, wait, I was just on the road and now there's no road and now I don't know where. And, you get confused. So keeping an eye on that exit 25, the exit 36, I'm going north, I'm going south, keeping an eye on these things. Like, sorry, my metaphor is getting a little too deep. Keeping an eye on how you control that perspective is very important. You don't want to be just one-sided. Now that the fact that now I got both, now I'm a little bit more ready than what my ego says, right? I'm actually more ready when it comes to structured skill. I'm actually more ready when it comes to consistent cardio, when it comes to how much energy is needed. So there are a lot of real concepts of how these things work. So it's important to understand where they are. That's the second one. That's the second one of just understanding that keeping your victory with your humility, and then keeping yourself structured in your skill base, and then keeping them separate to where you understand that if you lose, it's just more of skill that needs to be built. If you win, then it's the skill that you built proven, along with knowing and understanding that they all work together, but you don't want to allow them to mix to where that now you're distracted by, oh, I lost, so I'm not strong enough. Or, hey, I won, so I don't need to work no more. Right? This is where we at with it. Really big, like, for me, like I like to, like I was sitting back and I was just like, But as I was talking to my little sister last night, because she's like, she's in her own process of growth. As I was talking to my little sister, it was clarifying these things a little bit for me, right? As I was saying to them, like, she's handling her business, she's doing what she's doing, but then, she went to go look for an apartment and whatnot, and then she got denied on the application. All right. She didn't do nothing wrong. She's not a bad person. It's just that maybe the requirements that she submitted weren't efficient enough. So now you do the research. Now you go back to make sure that you do everything necessary to where you can get to where you're going. Same thing with me. I'm not going to oh, I didn't win this fight, and oh, I feel so bad that my legs hurt. Oh, so I'm never gonna fight again. That's where we don't do that. we don't just go, oh, it hurts, it's sad, it's bad, and then I quit. No, as much as we want to, everybody does, right? They say, like, if it was easy, everybody be doing it, and it wouldn't be worth much because then everybody would do it. It's like this. Have you ever been to a swimming pool that was packed with people? Have you ever been to a swimming pool to where when you jump in the pool, you damn near cannonballed on someone's head? Like, when you going under the swim, you swimming through legs of people and not. Wouldn't be a fun place to relax and refresh and, kick back in the summer, kick back in the sun. It's so if everybody was at this pool, then it wouldn't be a fun pool. You got to worry about where you're gonna sit. You got to worry about jumping in. Like, you got to worry about other loud noises around you. You came out to enjoy the day, So all you do is just you structure it differently. You structure the setup of it, right? You do the things that I would like to brag that I like to go about doing the things that people don't do. Like, I go into rooms that people go, oh, that's hard, or that's something difficult to deal with. And I go, well, let me see. Not out of like, oh, you guys don't know, or like stubbornness, or like, no, let me see. Like, I don't know, like maybe it is heavier than what I thought it was. I don't know. Like, I don't want to brag, but I mean, I clean a keg room every week. So I lift like about 50 to 60 pounds. Like, I don't actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think kegs can be like the keg itself. Honestly, I'm gonna do that math so that way I can brag for real. Now I'm bragging, but I'm someone who cleans a keg room like often. So that means, like, I got form, like, I got ability, I got, keeping everything centered with the thighs and the knees, get the form. It's not in your arms, it's in your shoulders and your back, so you properly lift, I got form. So let me see how heavy it may be, and then I'll let you all know. Like, because that's what happens, right? That's the science behind it. I love this science too, because it's like it's just all big things that play in little parts, right? So I was working at one of my jobs recently, and chef would tell me, hey, hands in the kitchen, so that way we can run food to the customers, right? So then chef would tell me, plate is hot. So I would grab the plate, I would just grab the plate. And then as I grab the plate, like, I'm like, it's a little warm, but it's not hot. Like, then I grab the plate and I take it out. But then every time he would tell me plate's hot, I would still just grab it without grabbing a napkin or a linen or anything. And he was like, well, he asked me, why do you keep grabbing the plates when I say that they're hot? I was like, well, see, you're saying they're hot doesn't prove to my brain that they are, right? So you can say it, and me, I'm about efficiency, right? So if the plate is extremely hot, of course, like, I'm gonna grab a linen and stuff like that, so that way I don't burn. Like, I'm not, come on, man. Like, we got things to do. But the thing is, for me to go and get the linen, or use my one linen I'm carrying, or go take the time to fold it to get it right, so I can place the hot plate on my arm, is a little time consuming for me. I'd rather just see, like, all right, cool. Is it really that hot that I need to be here for an extra 30 seconds trying to get the linen and whatnot? Or can I just go ahead and take it? If, you touch it and it's hot, all right, cool. Like, I'll use my one linen. I didn't want to use my linen, but I'll use it. I got it. All right, fine. I'll take the plate. But if it's not hot, then we out of here. Like, it's like, oh, cool. Boom, boom, we go. So I would always just grab it. And he'd ask me, like, why do you keep grabbing it when I say it's hot? I was like, well, because you say it's hot, but my brain and body doesn't know that it's hot for real. And plus, like, we're in and out. I'm a server. Like, I got to get back to my tables. But if you just call for hands, and I want to get it done quickly, I want to get in and get out, So me finicking around with linen and stuff like that, trying to, like, avoid if it's hot, all these extra things. Like, let's get the plates out. So I would always just grab it. You don't always have to go by what people say, right? Now, I'm not saying be some rebel or some delinquent out here in these streets, just, going crazy. Like, don't be like, hey, Jocquill said it was cool, and you out here committing. No, because we do things in a structured manner. We do things in a proper fashion. So let's not go there. At the end of the day, it was just like the example I made a couple weeks ago about the wet paint, right? Like yeah, okay, there's a chance that the paint is wet, but if it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon and the wet paint sign's still up there, I'm not assuming now, by my experience, I'm not assuming that they came out here and did this wall at 12 noon. Most times when like these kind of jobs need to be done, the paint would be somewhere between like 9 and 11, like, right? It's something that gets done early. So if I see the wet paint sign at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm gonna assume that the paint is not wet. Nobody just came back to do the sign. Now I'm just saying. Look, like I don't like, I made this example that like a couple weeks ago that, we don't just like, okay, maybe, but how do I know? Like, you're all right. So it's important to just go with what you know, right? Go with what you know, go with what you feel. If you get perspective from another external source, then analyze it properly and then kind of come to your conclusions of it. But don't just follow people. Don't just like go, oh, they said it, that trust and believe. If you're someone who watches the news and you just turn on the news and you take that news with you every day, oh, did you hear? Did you hear? Like, like you're just following, right? Like we have this internal instinct to want and to be. That is who we are. So sometimes we want to be seen, so we'll regurgitate information that we just heard so people can give us our, oh, okay. And then we go, yeah, like, I know what I'm talking about. But you can do that all the time just by getting smart, right? You can be someone who knows what you love talking about, know what you're talking about in a scenario or situation of how you're doing it, and then get to those levels of conversation where you don't need to just filter out what everybody's doing. Like, no, you just do your own thing. You come to your own perspective. Yes, it may be a little lonely at first when you kind of like do your own thing. That's how it kind of starts. Slowly and surely. Actually, I just put it as surely. Surely you're going to meet the people who resonate exactly with those same vibrations. That's how energy works. That's the true state of like the manifestation of everybody. Like, don't let me sit here and just be like, oh, you gotta manifest, you gotta believe, man. Like, no, this is science. Like, science is letting it be known that the emotion times the action equals the overall mass of what happens. That's actually my equation. Like, but if you it's just using what you do times how you feel to equal what happens. So if stove is hot and you want food, then you know that it will equal a meal. So you start to throw in your own variables like, all right, cool. I know stove is hot, so I won't touch it. I know it takes this amount of time for it to go, so I'm going to focus on it. So I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm going to make sure that the time is right, the salt's right, the measurements are right, everything else goes well. And then I'm going to make sure I eat. But then if you go in and you're just trying to make something and you're not paying attention to it and you're not like worried about how long the pasta's supposed to be cooking before you got to pull it out the water and whatnot, and then you're just sitting over here, you're kind of watching TV while you're doing everything, so you're not really paying attention, then I would imagine which meal is going to be better, right? So it takes those kinds of focus. So when people mention like these manifestation processes and stuff like that, they're not wrong, they're not off. They're a little like whimsical, I can say. Like they're the structure of it, right? It's just the idea. The same thing with the Bible. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a religious person, so don't let me quote the Bible and everything, but there are certain concepts and stories that you don't look at the story itself and go, oh man, that's pretty. So no, you look at the story and you see the change, you see the details of it, and then you implement the same kind of process in your life to where you be better. You may not be fighting a Goliath, but yet you may be, fighting your own fears regularly. So you take those same principles and then you implement them into your life. Look, it's why I can honestly say I'm sitting here saying all these words to you now. It's because there's been a lot of what I've seen, a lot of what has happened, and a lot of who I am that I just decided to go, all right, that's what it is. That's what it's been. I am. So here we are. That's just how it goes, you know? And then what do we do next? Which leads us into our third setup, not six, your third. But which leads us to the third setup of applying the CDA. This is when it gets fun. All right. So after you've opened up your perspective and after you've allowed the perspective of knowing that, all right, it's a little bit easier. And then you also follow it behind knowing that, all right, this is easy because I actually have this skill. And, you know, I've never thought I could do something like this before. That's when the fun really begins, because then you throw in the CDA, the consistent discipline action necessary to accomplish what you're going for. And then you become unstoppable for real, because you don't lose when you fail. You lose when you quit, when you say, I'm done. That's when you lose. So if you keep yourself going, like I say, if you can't walk, you can crawl. If you can't crawl, you can roll. If you can't roll, you can squirm. If you can't squirm, keep the thought process in your mind, because you got to keep it going either way you can. Never let it stop you, because it's stopping everybody. Look, go out into the world right now and see. Go to your grocery stores, go to your workplace, go to your schools, go to your local libraries, go to your local swimming pools. Go and then see how everybody else feels about it without thinking about what they're doing. Everybody is reacting right now. There's a lot of people reacting to what the world is going on. There goes why when you can bring up something about politics, when you can bring up something about entertainment, when you can bring up something about conspiracies, like there's something that people are going to say about it, because that's how much attention it's getting. If you revert that same attention to what you want to do versus trying to fill in your life with all of these external things, then watch how you simply start to understand it. You see it right now. That's the part. Like, we all know this. We all have bumped our heads. We've all made mistakes. We've all done something that made us feel a little insecure about who we are. And then guess what was followed behind that? Either the same action that put us in that state of mind in the first place, or a different change that allowed us to become better. Because only those things happen. Nothing else really happens. It's only just those things that kind of occur when you make these decisions and when you have these kind of thought processes. So it's up to you to allow yourself to know that, all right, cool, I bumped my head, that stove is hot, and they didn't like what I said. However, if you know what you're doing, if you know how you are and you know why it's coming from a place of how it's coming, then you can always give more to the scenario than what is being perceived. That's the important part. So along with knowing, now look, we're gonna bring it all the way back around in a circle so that way we can hit all 3 points solidly. The simple structure is the perspective of knowing. I'm doing it like I'm writing something for real. The perspective of knowing and realizing how easy it can be. And then the separation between your ego and your skills to understand how they both work in the formula. And then your consistent discipline action. Everyday shit for your everyday success. Baby, I tell you, this is what gets it done. Now, look, I'm not saying that everything, because it works differently, right? Everything in my life I do is not the same thing you do in your life. However, what I just say, it's not about the things that I do. It's not about you being like a kickboxer, about you being a bartender, about you doing what you do. No, it's about using the same kind of formula in a different scenario. You take that Bible text and then you kind of implement it. You take that poetry, you take that song and you apply it. Because then it's through that kind of learning that allows that perspective to open. Then for you to realize, like, wait, I do this. Like, I actually have this kind of skill and I'm actually pretty good at it. Like, I don't mind being good at it. And then knowing that, all right, now that I know that I got higher perspective, now that I know that I can do it, now that I understand that I have the confidence to do it, let me apply it daily. Let me do it all the time. So that way, not only do I change my environment, I change every environment around me, because like we talk about regularly, it works in both ways. If you're someone who goes and you go, oh, this happened to me, this happened to me, they go, oh, it happened to them, it happens to them, and they go, it happens to them, it happens. And there's just this like string of like negativity. It works the other way just as well. If you go and you just spread the positivity, like, look, we don't have bad days. We may feel a little, those muscles may be developing a little bit more from that workout. We may have slept a little bit weird because of the fact that we were just comfortably weird. But we don't have no bad days. Like, it may be a little inconvenience that presents opportunity for us to do more with what we go. It may be something that we just hit our head. But you know what? Why am I walking like that? Like all of these things. And the more you study them, like, that's the point. This is where my consistency needs to be strong, like at its best. I should be here on Saturday at 12 in Florida. I don't know what time it is in other places, but you know, wherever it would be in other places, to be there at 12 as well, you know? So that way it can be implemented regularly. Like, it takes the time, it takes the compound, it takes the growth, baby. It takes the time for it to be something. Most people want it now. But the funny thing is, everybody is wanting and not no one is willing. So don't be someone who just wants something. Don't go, oh man, I really want that. Go, how do I become someone who gets things like that regularly? That's the idea. That's the whole concept of it. That's why this simple structure is going to help immensely, because it's understanding the perspective that I can do this. I've just done it. It just happened right here, right now. I can do this. And then you go, well, now that I know I can do this, it didn't work out for me a couple times. I felt a little bad the last time it didn't work out for me. However, I'm still good enough to do it because I've already done it before. Okay. Then you go, all right, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this all the time at this time, and I'm going to make sure that it's applied all the time, every time. Boom! Just like that. Structure, solid, and it doesn't take much thought process, right? It takes you to go for that next inconvenience to pop up out of nowhere, for you to go, wait a minute. My perspective knows that this happens often. Like, I was mad about this last week. I don't need to participate in this. And then you continue to do that. I'm telling you, that's why I was talking to my sister last night, and I kept saying it like this because it's something that I've learned. Like, it was before, like, long before I got here, but I was in my kitchen and I was just thinking. I was thinking about like how well I was doing, right? I was like, oh man, I'm doing well. I'm making sure I handle business. I still got a few things going on. I mean, like, I'm moving, I'm doing it. And I was like, this feels good. All right, well, how long do I got to do this? And then I thought about it. I was like, oh shit, forever. Like, and then like now I kind of make this always joke to myself to where it's like, oh man, like, how long do I gotta push? Forever, until it's over, because you're already here. What else you about to do? you already in it. You already here. Like, this, I mean, like, look, the point I was making about my little sister was the fact that, like, she kept kind of saying it like that. She kept kind of saying, like, but I mean, I did it. I mean, like, what's going on? I'm like, you just gotta keep going. You just gotta keep working at it. You gotta be built. The same fire that melts butter forges steel. Do you want to be butter or steel? Which one? Which one? You got the choice. You can always melt under the pressure, or you can always become more solidified in strength that you can cut through anything in your way. Which one? Which one? It's your choice. You can do whatever one you want. Look, you can do whichever one you want. No one ain't stopping you from doing a. So I was keeping a profanity, right? Ain't nobody stopping you from doing a damn thing. So you can do this. But do you want to do this? Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. No, you want to do this. Because I heard you say you want to. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. They want to. They want to be better. They want to do this. They want to go there. They want to do it. Okay. Are you willing, though? Are you? Yeah, you got some silverware, but really, are you eating, though? Like, come on now, because like everybody wants something. Everybody wants something, but guess what? Everybody's not there. Everybody wants it, but no one's even there doing the work to get it. Everybody's like, I want to be. And then they see, I show up in the places where people want to be, and I'm over here like alone. I'm like, what happened? I thought we wanted to be. I thought we were up. I thought this was what's happening. No, I guess not. Okay, I guess not. And this is why I say this too. It's not about the talent. It's not about the intelligence. It's not about the looks. It's about the pure willingness to be there, to show up. Look, I tell you, this is what's going to happen. You're going to train. And I don't mean like train like MMA train. Take it is that seriously, right? Because if you know anything about like fighters and whatnot, they train a lot. Like literally, honestly, I will get back to the point to where like I'm training just as much. I don't even want to fight like that. Like I just like to get stronger. But train like it. Train like the gladiator, train like the Spartans, train like the warriors for your mind, for your body, for your spirit. So that way you can literally keep yourself in the game all the time. You got to be your biggest cheerleader, supporter, fan base. You got to be the president, the CEO, the founder, because it's all starting with you. Everyone else, look, this is what I meant by watch. Everyone else is waiting for someone to help them with something. Trust me, I used to be somebody who was waiting for something too. I used to be somebody who was like, no. The reason why I'm waiting on somebody is because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I wouldn't have to be waiting, because then I'd be doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing to get to where I'm going. Like that's the sum of it. So everyone's waiting for something, a sign, a person, a scenario, a situation. That's the sign. Like I told my little sister last night, I was like, if you looking for a sign, you already found it. It's not me. I'm not taking that much credit. But if you're looking for a sign, you already found it, because your thought process is telling you, I need to be doing something different. See, your thought process is saying, hey, like, I'm uncomfortable right now, so I'm feeling a little weird about where we are and how we feel. Your consciousness is going, oh, what do I do? Your subconscious knows that it's like, all right, it's just because of the fact that we got to do that one thing that we keep avoiding. So once you break down and analyze those as they are, don't sugarcoat it. Look, you can be, what we say, professional criticism. You got to be delicate with what you're saying to yourself. You have to understand where it's coming from, so that way you can analyze it properly. You just saying you're not enough, not good enough, not strong enough isn't helping. You have to understand you're not good enough because you didn't train enough. You're not smart enough because you didn't learn enough. You're not strong enough because you're not lifting enough. Like, you got to get to work. You got to do something to get something. Everybody's trying to get something without doing nothing. You can't be somebody who says, I want to be stronger, and don't do no push-ups. Don't do no jumping jacks. Don't sit over here and increase your strength. It does not work that way. You don't just go, oh man, I want to be stronger. No, you put in the everyday work, the everyday shit, the everyday success, the CDA, consistent discipline action regularly, so that way you get there. That's all it is. And the thing that you want is on the other side of what you're not doing. That's it. It happens all the time. And then the longer you let it build, the longer it procrastinates, the longer it goes, the more you feel. And then you do not want to be a person that has to be you do not want to be a person that's 20-something years old, 30-something years old, thinking that you need to take antidepressants all the time because of the fact that you're just depressed. No, get to work. Like, you over here making all these excuses. Oh, I feel sad, so no, my ADHD. Oh, you keep making all these excuses, which is only prolonging the inevitability of how you're not going to be great, because you're choosing to make the excuses to not do it, to keep making excuses of the antidepressants and everything. Like, oh, the weight gain, the summer, oh, the rain, oh, the snow. Like, no, there's no excuse for it. Like, first off, shut your ass up, because nobody even asked you. Nobody even asked you what you wanted. You came out into the world bitching and complaining about it. I want to sit over here and I want to be, and then motherfuckers listened to your whining ass, and you was like, and they were like, okay, well, you want it, here you go. And then you go, oh, wait, it's too much. I can't do it. Get it up. And they're like, well, I thought you said you wanted. This is what life does. And everybody's acting like this. Everybody's acting like a little bitch because of the fact of what they want. Excuse me why I'm en français, but I'm telling you, once you man up, and I don't mean man up if you're a woman, like all this extra. No, once you actually pull up your motherfucking pants, actually get yourself right, actually understand what you want and how you got to do it, then you get to work. Don't sit over here and realize what you need to do and then understand how you are and what you need to do, and then don't put no work in. Like, do all of them. Understand the perspective of where you want to be, how you want to be, and where you want to go. And then understand the skill set and the way that you think about how you are and where you want to go and who you are. And then put your work in every single day. Put something into it. Put something there. You don't have to read a book a day. You don't have to do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 1,000 jumping jacks a day. You just need to do something all the time. That's it. Everybody's like, along with them being little bitches about it, everybody's taking the thought process of them, this can't do one, they can't do one. Like, it's just too much whining. Like, you're not doing nothing. That's why you're still sitting in the corner fucking crying. So, create a system, create the routine, design the concept, and then don't only just put it on a blueprint, build it. And then don't only just build it and just let it rust, but maintain it. Don't only just maintain it, excel in it, increase it. Don't only just increase it, understand it. Find out where you are. It's just like this. This is all you do. And guess what? That's the easy part, figuring out. The hard part, and which I can agree with entirely, the more complicated part of the scenario, of the situation, the most disciplined aspect of it is that you do it every day. You do it all the time. If you miss the day, you double up. If you don't double up, then you gotta increase somehow. That's only if you want to, right? Because everybody wants to. That's only if you want to. Because if you want to that bad, then you will be willing to do what's necessary. And that's it. So create your structure. Look, I just helped out with one. Look, this is simple structure. That's why that was the title of it. Simple structure. Simple structure. 1, realize how easy it is. 2, separate the ego from the abilities. 3, apply your CDA. Bam. Bam. Now do it in your format. You're a lawyer, cook, chef, bus driver, garbage man, teacher, whatever. Apply those things in your sector. If you do it in your sector and you don't like it, then you understand where you want to go. That's the point of the structure. Now, throughout the transition of getting out of this sector to go to this one, that could be a job transfer, school transfer, moving from state to state, country to country, whatever. You still take that same structure of the perspective of knowing how easy it is for you to solve your problem, then understanding how much skill you have and how you think about when you do it, and then making sure you do it all the time. You take it and you just put it, because what we talk about all the time, the conservation of energy, baby, because it can't be destroyed or created. It's only transformed on a regular basis. That's it. That's fun. Like, I get excited about it because then I realize, like, oh, because this is what you do. A lot of people with all of the same knowledge go, oh, this is what it is. And then they don't appreciate all the good that comes with the bad. Like, I mean, it's not always going to be sunshine and blue skies. Like, you know, in Florida, like, we loving this. Somebody commented on one of the videos, like, oh, it looks so, like, beautiful where you are. I'm like, that's that Florida sunshine. We didn't trust and believe. Tornado season is right around the corner. So then next thing you know, we ain't going to have no blue skies and then we're going to have to lock down. Gas stations don't close. Everybody's going to be fighting for water and toilet paper and everything. Ain't going to be as, like, relaxing and welcoming, but it's what I say is better than the snow. Like, I'm from Chicago. Like, I say it's a lot better than the snow. And the fact that I gotta deal with a hurricane, every once a year, like at this kind of rate, all right, fine. Like, forget it. Like, fine. We good. I'll take it over having to wake up in the snow every day, or at least 9 months out of the year. So it's just that, right? You just find the ways to design them. And then once you find the ways, that's the part about it. That's what the example I was just saying. Don't only just build to maintain, build to grow. Like, you get to, I make this example all the time. Like, there's not a number. Like, so now there's a zetillion, I think they said. It's like, millions, billions, trillions, zillions, zetillions, like, so there's like more numbers now. So apparently, I always make the example that you don't got to stop. Like, you can go to the hundreds, you can go to the 100,000s, 200,000, you can go to the millions, you can go to the billions, you can go to the 500 trillions, you can keep going. And then you can get all the way to the top one and be like, I'm cool right here. Like, you can go to the million and be like, this works. You can be at the 7,500,000 mark and be like, yep, that's up to you. You have that ability. You can do it. You can literally go, yep, this is good. Because it is, right? It is. Like, I'll leave you with this one thing right here, right now. So that way we can go ahead and wrap it up. I kind of want to read some of the comments before I go. Your brain is designed to keep you alive without you even having to do nothing. You don't wake up in the morning and go, breathe, 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 breathe. Nope. You woke up doing it because there is an internal function in your system that allows it regularly. You go with just a thought. With just a thought. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is just keep those thoughts on how beautiful that it can be in your front mind, so that way you don't miss all of the beauty that it truly is. Like, what the grass is greener on the other side? Like, honestly, I don't know how I feel. The grass is greener on the other side. I don't know. Like, I do believe that there's always more somewhere else. However, you are more as well. And you can always be more. Because I always say there's always going to be inconvenience in people anywhere. So it does not matter where you go. There's always going to be an inconvenience. There's always going to be an asshole that's going to be there. It's only just due to the perspective of how you go about it. If you think that moving from the East Coast to the West Coast is going to solve your problems, then you're going to be a little disappointed, because then you're going to think that, oh, this place is better for me because it's better, without you doing the work that makes you better in the first place. You not doing that work, you're about to just take it with you. You're about to take all of the inconvenience and problems that you like haven't discovered yet. You're about to pack those up with you and you're about to take them. Like, so no matter where you are, this is why they always say finding where you are, like finding your peace, finding how you are. Like, honestly, it's awesome. Once you realize like how you can really be in the world, once you really give yourself permission, once you actually act how you feel you can act, how much ability you have, then you start to realize like, oh, no one really cares. you start to do stuff. Look, go into your grocery store and sing a song down the aisles, and I guarantee you, no one's gonna care that you're singing a song. They may go, what's that song? Or someone may go, like, but I guarantee you, no one cares. And once you free yourself from those thought processes, then you start to free yourself from all those other fears. Then you start to do stuff. Look, I am not afraid to have this conversation. I am not scared of what people think about my energy. Because trust me, I know. Like, you see how if you was here with me this whole time, you see how I started. You see how I started, like, you know, it's like, look, we're talking about it. And then, like, you know, I got in it. I got passionate, like, you know, because it's real. Like, so there's, you know, so I know these things, and I know that it can happen like that because of how excited I can be, and I love that. Like, I love in every moment I be, you know, being cool, too suave, and then a song come on and I go, and I instantly get it, because that's fun for me. It's awesome. Like, so, excuse me. Like, that's the whole basis of it. Like, so with that, I thank everyone. I thank my boy Ricky in it. Look, so I've been, you know, restructuring the setup of it, right? You know, I don't want to just be in the comments while I'm talking. I want to stay on the topic at hand. You know, I want to make sure we get to the points. You know, this time I cheated. I used the notes a little bit, you know, but I've been a person that has always like kind of like did scripts and like, you know, kind of like presented. So like, I always like to be in the mindset of just kind of remembering you can only hold so much information at one time. And if you want to be your best, you know, you just get it out there, you get it listed. I'm not afraid. You know, I got the notebook today, y'all. Usually I don't go with the notebook. You know, I wanted to get there, you know, and I'd rather use the crutch than to miss the information, right? I'd rather use the crutch of like the notebook to get into it, so that way we can like focus and get every point across, so that way we don't miss any of the information, versus me attempting to be somebody who's sitting here like, you know, I've seen the livers, I've seen them where they're in it, they're just like, you gotta know, you gotta do it, and I'm like, damn, they've been talking for 6 hours about this, how the hell he can, you know, like, you know, so we getting there myself, because I'm starting to understand it more. I've been blessed with more opportunities to present more of how people will tell me to like do some stuff that I've never done, simply because of the fact that my energy is so high, they think I can handle it. And I'm just like, well, it's a good thing you're not wrong. Like I say, you know, like that's why I say those opportunities present themselves simply because of how I've decided to get outside my comfort zone. Like I've moved so much in these last 5 months that I'm just over here just thinking like, man, at this rate, by the end of the year, it's gonna be like, and I can't even say by May 24th, by my birthday, it's gonna be boom, because of the everyday structure, right? Yes, I'm not someone who, look, don't let me sit here and act like I'm just someone who's never had a problem or the thing I've learned through this nice little lovely journey in my last 28 years is the fact that everyone has their story. Everybody has something they've been through. Everybody's been through some kind of development. Everybody's going through a development now. So don't let me sit here and make it seem like I'm not someone who hasn't went through a transformation to understand that the law of conservation of energy has allowed me to be the same kind of person. I'm still the same kind of person, just more in tune with what I want to know, which makes me more intelligent about my self-awareness, which makes it a lot easier to communicate. Trust me, if you go back and watch some lives from like last year, there, there's it's probably not like as cool as I wanted it to be. Like I don't think that I would go back and watch it and then be like, okay, like he was saying some stuff, but like there's always growth. And don't be afraid of the growth. Don't be afraid of you being able to get outside that comfort zone to where now you're doing something entirely different than what you've ever done before. Because then you don't go nowhere. And if you don't want to go nowhere, that's fine. No one's telling you that you got to move, but guarantee you're going to be in some line somewhere wondering like, oh, why am I standing in this line? Like, I don't need to stand in this line. And then you're going to see somebody flying over you because of the fact that they decided to fly there instead of like get in a line and get there. And then it's going to open up your perspective. It was like, well, if this line exists and he's up there, where can I be? I don't need to be in this line. I want to get to where I'm going. I want to do it in my way. I want to be able to. So you give yourself permission to do that work. It doesn't change overnight. And trust, if it changes overnight, then man, really learn, because you better, opportunities don't present themselves all the time in the way that you want to. So if a scenario and situation lines up for you exactly like how you want to, take your lessons and take your blessings and be on your way. Let it build. Let it do something. Like, look, I was just thinking earlier today, death is a really weird concept, right? It's scary and yet, it happens and all these things, right? So I was really thinking about like, death. And I was just like, damn, like, that sucks. Like, right? But then I thought about it. I was like, well, I got like 80 some years. Like, that's a lot of time. Like, if you see like, I made this example to one of my friends, like Snoop Dogg is like a real big inspiration, right? Because, being from LA and whatnot, involved in heavy gang activities throughout his life. I don't think if you ask Snoop Dogg where he is today, if this is where he thought he'd be when he was 17, 18, 20 years old, I think he would have had a really different answer for you back then. But it's amazing to see how, like people like him and people like Shaquille O'Neal, even though they're not doing the things that they started out doing, how they've come to where they are. Like, that's really cool. So, you got a little time. Like, I see some of these videos of like some of the, I see this one channel of like this dude interviewing people who are like kind of fit. So he asked them like what their workout routine is and stuff like that. And he'd be interviewing people like, there's like these gentlemen that are like 64, like 55, like 72 years old, at the beach and, still getting the work in and whatnot. And that makes me think like, okay, well, hold on. Wait a minute, got a little, we can do a little bit more. So this is what I always say too. Don't you think that it's possible to increase your value 10 times, 20 times, 100 times over the course of 5 years, 10 years, right? Don't you think that with that possibility that it's even more possible for you to increase the same 10 times, 20 times, 100 times in a shorter period? Yes, like there's a possibility that you can do more now. Like, now the fact that you can realize that that 5-year plan is a 5-year plan, make it a 3-year plan, make it a year plan. Like, do more of what's asked of you to become more than what you are, right? Don't be someone who gets to the 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and then stops at 100. No. Do 110. All right. Do 103. Okay. Do 101. Don't meet it. Don't meet the ceiling. Right through it. Because then you realize more, right? They say that what you ask of a king is never too much. If a king asks you, what do you want? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? You going on? What are you gonna ask for? You gonna ask for some gold? You gonna ask for some food? Like, you gonna ask for a country of your own? Like, all right, I see you got this right here. Let me get this part right here for you to increase more of your wealth through the land that I nourish. Because this, really think about it. Really understand. Because if you hear anything about like top people, successful people, there's one thing that I always hear is they say that where you wanted to be, you realize it was really small, right? You're at this point, right? And you've reached this point and you've thought about where you wanted to come from. And the point that you started with yourself, you've realized once you've totally passed it, how small it was. So with that saying, that means you can think bigger now. Like, you can really understand how far you can go right now. Like, you see it. Like, you play basketball, you wrestle, you're a scientist, you're an artist, you're a musician. So you sit back right now and think, I'm doing this right now. I could be on a stage where not if only millions, but billions of people. I could break the record for the most tickets sold at an arena ever in history. I could sell the greatest painting for the most money that has ever been offered to any other artist in the world alive. Like, you start to realize that these things are possible. Now, look, this is what happens next, because through all that motivation, you feel it, right? You can feel it in your bones. You got creative. Now you're starting to realize the ideas. Work in silence. Something that I've been really paying attention to. Work in the silence. Don't even bother to celebrate in the noise. Work in silence, celebrate in private. Work in silence, get your work done. Don't let nobody, you don't need no cheerleaders right now. Do your work, get your work done. If somebody sees you working, oh, what you working on? Man, I'm just working, dog. Getting it done. When people ask me how I'm doing, I say a couple of phrases. I say, always great, another day feeling great, only gets better from here. I say, if I'm not having like the most solid day that I wanted to have, and then somebody asks me, I'll go, hey, look, just doing my thing and having fun doing it. If it's one of those days where I'm really not feeling it at all, to where I'm like, I'm going to say, putting in that work per usual. All still consists of with me going towards my goal without me worrying about how I feel. Of course it hurts right now. Ain't got time for that. I got things to do. What is it? Thank God cosas que hacer. Man. So with that being said, it only gets better from here because we only get better. And through these simple structures and through these simple concepts of how we do it, yes. Let me read some of these comments. From Costa Rica, ¿qué pasó, hermano? Man, I know my boy. I seen Ricky popping up in the comment, man. Man, I seen that. I want to give genuine appreciation. And that's what I'm saying, my dog. That's what we do. I wanted to get the. Of course, I remember Vinny, dog. What? Come on now. Like I say, I was a. That's what we here for. Oh, this is why I was. This is exactly why, I'm actually really blessed on how far the channel's actually come because, full keg about 160. That's what I was thinking. My math was a little right. I think 50, 60, some kegs. I think I was looking at it then. I was going to say 100, 120. If the why is strong enough, you can have the how is easy. I was literally telling my sister that too. Yep. Yeah, man, I tell you, dog, this is what I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, that's what we look. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole part of it. That's why it's so important. it's only as important as you make it, right? Look, I'm sitting over here saying like, it's important, do it. Because like in my life, like it's really important. It's because like now I'm thinking about like the family I want to have, the places I want to live, the business that I want to do, the people I want to talk to. Like people ask me all the time, like, why do I learn so many languages? Because the more you can talk to someone, the more opportunities you can create. And then throughout those opportunities, you can do more business and then you can grow more. And then you realize that where you thought you were growing, use it. Look, I do not agree with it at all that the world is a very small place at all. No, you ask your boy Jocquill over here. Oh, do you think that the world is a really small place? I'm gonna tell you, hell no. People's perspective of the world is small. People live in the same place. People live in the same zip code for 20, 30 years saying that the world is small. No, your zip code's small, my friend. There's a vast land. There's vast seas out there everywhere, and every place on the world still hasn't even been discovered. They're still discovering more of the same world we've been on for centuries, for eons, ages. Like, look, I can only share my excitement about it. That's what's so interesting. Science is awesome. When you figure out the science behind how you want to do it, you create the equation. And then you start to know that the equation is only just these patterns of certain concepts and disciplines that equal out to the overall aspect of where you end up. So if you can understand the science and you can create the equation and then solve the problem, then you can go anywhere you want to. That part right there is what we talking about. That's how you get it done. That's how we move. So with that being said, we're going to end it there because if you let me keep going, we're going to keep going. But we do got things to do. So with that being said, I am blessed, verdaderamente bendecido, truly, to be here with all of my people. Muchas gracias por el apoyo, mi gente. I tell you, I am truly blessed. Like, this is what we do. Yoku nare bakore korega watashi desu tomodachi. This is what we do, baby. And we do it every day. Yes, there's those times where I don't want to do the workout either. But guess what? It still got to get done. It still needs to be done because there's nothing holding us back from getting it done. I tell you what. I tell you what. Yes. Big shout outs to all my people winning. I love it. Damn, Ricky, stop it. No, man, that's what I tell you about my boy Ricky out here, man. Stop it. Dog, this is what it only gets better. Solo mejora, es una gran vida. El solo el comienzo, hermano. It's only just the beginning. Look, that's the all right. Last point, and then we'll be done. That's the best part about it. It's something that I've truly learned. Like everybody has this whole concept about turning 30 and all this extra stuff. Someone asked me at my job just a couple days ago. He asked me, "What's it like being 28?" And I was like, bro, my life is awesome. Like, I've gained perspective. I've made mistakes. I've gotten here. I understand where I want to go. And I'm loving it. Life is already perfect. You just got to appreciate the details. So you appreciate those little details to where you like, this is great. They build. You thought that your income only compounded. No. Your blessings compound too. You start to appreciate the one. Look, I tell you, my first one, man, this pillow is soft. I wake up in the morning like, damn, this is a soft ass pillow. Man, this pillow. It's my first one I count when I get up. Okay? So the smallest ones lead to the bigger ones. The small problems that you solve lead to you solving the bigger ones. The more money you manage now, the more money you manage when you get there. It's all just a part of those lessons. And I tell you, it only gets better from here. Why? Because We only get better. That's all we doing. We didn't wake up and decide to do nothing else because we can, right? We have the option. You can just go do nothing in life, and that's okay too. It's not a crime. It's not a crime for you to just be homeless. For you, well, I mean, if you're trespassing and stuff, but I mean, it's not a crime for you not to succeed in life. No one's making you, but it is up to you to what you choose to do. So, whether you think you can or you can't, you are absolutely correct. So this is coming from someone who had his fair share of homelessness as well. I can tell you, it is a lot harder to be homeless than it is to be able to get a job and pay bills. I don't understand. And then I found out that if I'm gonna have a hard time struggling, then I better be having a hard time struggling comfortably. At least let me be in a bed somewhere to get through my struggles. Damn, come on now. It was a lot harder being homeless to try to find some place to be, getting woke up on train benches and stuff like that because I can't be there and stuff like that. It was a lot harder being homeless than for me to just go get my shit together, go ahead, get back into my craft, understand what I love to do, talk to the people, and then make some bread to get to where I'm going. And then to keep doing more of that. So it's a lot easier for me to just not. I can go back to those, I can do it. It's not hard. Look, for me, it'd probably be one little bad decision, one shot later for me to be right back there. And I can do it any time I want to. Yes, I have that ability too. I also have the other ability to just continue to push forward and do what I want to do. If I get to where I want and do what I want to do, then everything that I want to do and the mindset that I do it in would be better because we only get better. Simple science, simple math, this is simple structure. This is what we're here for. Es lo que hago. Eso es lo que soy, hermano. So we in it to win it. Buenos tardes to all of mi gente. I love it. We in it. I will see you all next Saturday at noon, having more fun talking about it. Check out the lives. We got them. I got it to where I'm doing it a little bit more ahead throughout the week. It's mostly when I come up with the subject. Once I got the subject and I got some points behind it, then that's when I posted to where that you see the upcoming live. But every Saturday noon, doing our thing, having some fun doing it. Let's live it up. Let's do our best. I will see you all the next. I tried to rhyme. It didn't work. You got it. Peace, y'all.